Welcome to the Bluetooth Podcast,
where we unpack today's news.
and separate the sense from the nonsense. I'm your host, Jay.
And I'm your co-host, Katie.
And don't forget to subscribe, share, like our videos.
Let's jump in.
So today we're going to talk about something because this is the time of year for it, and that's prom, right? So prom is more than a whole vibe. It is more than an experience. It's like over the top.
A fashion showdown, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's more. It's wild. So we're going to talk and discuss and kind of like unpack the mess and the nonsense, and I guess the good things that come along with prom. Okay.
So, do you think spending thousands of dollars on prom is a waste of money, or is it worth it for your child's experience?
You're asking me that?
Yes, I'm asking you.
All right. Okay. Let me start by saying this. Even though I believe in having these financial discussions with my partner before a decision is made, I think I would drop a hammer down if someone even brought up the idea of thousands. Okay. For me, prom is a day. I understand it's like the biggest showdown for high school experience or even the closeout of high school and the journey. However, thousands of dollars to me doesn't seem conscionable when you're talking about prom. I think that some people have considered prom to be like a miniature wedding, right? Back in the day when we were kids, limos was like the biggest thing. Like, oh my God, you got a limo. And that was actually on TV. Like, I didn't see anyone ride up to my high school in a limo, right? I know that for me, when I'm thinking about thousands of dollars, I'm thinking about what those thousands of dollars could actually go to outside of this one night.
Correct. So, how much would you say you'd be willing to spend on prom? You have boys. How much would you spend?
See, and I think that brings up another thing, the difference between boys and girls, right? Truly blessed to have boys, which to me, especially on this side of the aisle, I'm happy with. Because I think with boys, what you got maybe an extra prom ticket at a chivalry kind of deal, right? I agree with that. You got his tux, you got his boutonniere, probably paying for her corsage, right? I don't think guys really wear this like accessories like girls do. I mean, I know some are flashy, but I think our boys are pretty like
chill.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to say max. I'm going to be honest with you, and I know for a fact that the viewers are probably going to like comment like crazy on my number because it's probably going to be lower than most people think. Feel like we're gonna be playing the prices right here for a second. No, I'm thinking like $500. I think you can get a good tux, or we can rent one. For boys, I mean, it's not really that expensive to clothes and house boys. Like they don't need much.
Right. And they don't need makeup. They just need a good haircut. So,
and I could do that myself.
Right.
I mean, I guess I'm really taking a. I mean, I guess I would pay for the haircut. I guess that's what.
Yeah, you would have to, because no, it's okay to give them haircuts, but I think when they're older, they don't want their moms cutting their hair, right?
Probably. I mean, I'm like this. Listen, if we can stretch not necessarily a dollar or a penny, but and I do believe haircuts do make sense. I'm not saying that at all, so I probably would obviously throw that in a $500 allotment. I know that it wouldn't take negotiation with me and my partner because I know that my number is probably on the lower or more fiscally responsible end for something like this. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I was actually doing some research, and based on the figures that I saw, it's actually on the lower end. They were saying prom outfits could cost anywhere from $100 to $1,000. But I was doing some other research on social media, and people are spending like $5,000. I'm hearing $4,000, right?
On what?
On the actual day, everything, the hairstyle, the photographs, everything that comes along with prom. Yes.
So, I'm trying to wait. You can see the actual reaction I'm having. These are big numbers. Like I'm thinking $500 was everything. I'm talking about prom ticket, talking about clothes. I'm talking about, you might even have an extra $100 left over for like, if you want to go food.
Right.
Right.
It's a big thing, right? Yeah, I actually did. I was serious in doing some research because I want to know what other people are doing, and you keep abreast of the trend of what's really happening.
You mean the broke trend? Because I mean, let me be clear. Let me be real clear, because I don't see anything about one day, especially prom, because you're even going to fight me for the wedding. But for prom, right? Which means, again, this is not even a forever person you're going with, and chances are you might not even be with them. Why in the Sam would you be dropping close to like 4,000, 5,000, or even I'm thinking 1,000 is a lot of money.
But here's the thing: there's this thing called promposal where it's actually a big thing where people are spending money on billboards and all that jazz
Billboards.
to ask somebody to prom.
Let me be clear. And again, I know that I am probably in the minority with this, and I don't have a problem. So you guys can absolutely comment and give us your feedback and let me know if I am out of touch, which I don't think I am. There's no billboard. Billboards are for like companies trying to sell a new burger. Billboards is not asking somebody to prom.
Well,
What a waste. And I don't.
it's happening. It's happening.
I don't have any judgment with the people who feel like that is the approach or walk they want to walk. I just know for a fact the way that the dollars and cents make sense to me. I couldn't understand that because the first thing I think about is what comes next, right? So if we're at prom, that means that you're close to graduating. And that also means that with graduation comes college, ideally, not for everybody, not support, not the college route. But if you are going to college, right? You got other expenses coming up. You got getting that room ready. You got books. You got tuition. And we also live in an environment now where the grants and scholarships that we used to have are no longer available. So you probably have more out of pocket expenses than you had before. So you want me to drop something that I could be using later for your enrichment and your schooling on one day that you probably won't remember. Or if you remember, it's a distant memory.
Or even if you don't decide to go to college, a skill or trade or it costs just the same.
Oh, they had a trade school.
Yeah. So
And
you still have to
oftentimes
pay for it.
True. And oftentimes with trade schools, I don't really see many scholarships like I could have for undergrad. So I'm thinking like this. My biggest thing about this topic, because I know a lot of people feel passionate. I've already been not necessarily rebuked by some of my friends, but they've definitely let me have it. And I'm just going to be honest. I don't understand why it's a micro wedding. I'm really trying to understand. And I'm thinking to myself in my mind, even though like the money about it really bothers me, and I equate it to a feminine presenting woman wanting like all this extra glam and all this stuff at her wedding, I'm thinking like at least I got forever with you, so I can kind of hopefully turn that money over. Hopefully you're bringing something, you know what I mean. But this prom is for one night.
All right, subscribers, viewers, tell us what you think. Is the big spend worth it, or it's just the hype for social media?
I think it's the hype for the parents. Because let me tell you something. I wonder if some of the parents didn't go and they want to live through their kids. I mean, that's
The
a
vicarious
possibility.
living,
Let me tell you, I went to Prom. I don't need to live through anybody. I went there. I remember that. I had someone really send me a picture of their prom picture.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like over 25 years old. And she still had it. So she was like, Jay, this is why. I'm like, is that something you dug out or do you have this on your mantle? Like, think about this. When you go to someone's house as an adult, who sees prom pictures? I know when you go to a person's house when you're married, you see their wedding photos all around. But if they're not a teen and you're in college, who's looking at their prom pictures?
True.
Right? I mean, I'm just a realist, and I know for a fact that there's a lot of people who do not sit on the side that I sit on. I'm aware, and I have heard the hate already just in my own like micro circle. They telling me that I'm out of touch. And I said, the only thing I'm touching is some pennies and coins and money because I want to keep it as much as I can. All right. Same topic. Let me ask you this, though. Should parents be financially responsible for paying this?
To an extent. Here's what I'm thinking. So you have these kids that some kids are very simple and they don't want the glitz, the glam. But if you want a $4,000 or a $5,000 dress, then I think you should find some ways and means of contributing to that, because I'm going to give you or tell you the budget. If you want anything outside of my budget, then I think you should get a job, something, to offset some of the cost.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
What?
I have to interject and say, like, it's still a hell no. Let me be clear. My job as a parent is to help guide you make great decisions. And That's, to me, not a great decision. I could care less, honestly, if you earned it. I mean, I'm happy you did earn it to help, but wouldn't it be awesome for you to put it in some, well, not the stock market today, Jesus, because I know it's not really working. However, remember, it's about the long game with stocks, right? So why would it make sense for you to spend an item on a dress that you can only probably wear once? No offense to any of the people out here who think they can fit in their prom dress after 20 years. Maybe you can't and you're blessed, but the majority of us. Mm. So all I'm saying is to spend $4,000 and to say, hey, you can contribute. Because again, I support that. I really do like the fact that you're like, hey, help me pay for this, right? My only deal is, what are we teaching you? Like, are we teaching you to save up and blow? Or should we teaching you certain things like, let's see how we can get the dress that you like in something reasonable. And then take that money that you did save and help it grow and make it work for you, right? Because wouldn't it be awesome for you to take, we'll say, and this is still bigger, more than what I would even think about, but you have a person who can afford 4,000, you spend 1,000 on a dress and you invest three, right? That three multiplies. And then maybe be able to, over a few years, purchase something like a huge, asset that can continue to grow for you. In my mind, that is where money should be going. And I know for a fact I am not
Come
the
on, Jay. We
majority.
have to meet them in the middle.
What is the middle? The middle is wasting money. Like that's not a middle. The middle to me would be finding a dress that looks somewhat like your, blown up idea or your dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and then using or teaching a fiscally responsible way to use the rest of it.
What do you think about, say, for example, renting or buying? I mean, renting the.
Listen, I support all of that. You know why? Because it won't be a lot
Okay.
compared to like buying, But let me be clear, because I already know where this is going. If you blow a rental that's like $1,000, that's worse than anything because you don't even get to keep it.
True. True.
Right. So to me, it's about making sure all of this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it makes zero sense to me. Like, I can tell you the hate that I got. That's why we brought this here. The hate that I receive on the daily during this season, because people, they ask me, they talk to me, we have discussions, and they always want to know what I think. And I tell them, and then I get like vetoed and booed and kicked out of cookouts because no one understands and supports, my view. I, my biggest thing, I believe that we have to live for tomorrow, right? We can't spend for today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about this. When you got kids, part of our job, I think, as parents, is to make sure they understand how that dollar really works. And if that dollar works in a way where you're always broke, we didn't do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I really wish they taught in schools, because I feel like there's a big piece of fiscal management that's missing from this conversation.
Or just life skills overall. I'm always saying that should be something that's taught in schools, not just left up to your parents to actually give you that lecture.
Well, I guess, rolling the dice depending on what kind of parent you get, right?
True.
But so back in the day, they used to have home ec. I don't know if they still have home ec in schools anymore, but home ec, basically, you learn cooking, all that stuff, right? I just only went to the
Oh my
cooking
God,
part.
I did home economics.
So the issue that I really wish they did do, which I only got in undergrad when I went through my management bachelor program,
Mm-hmm.
I did basic accounting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did economics, and then I did accounting too. So one of the things that I learned so much was how money really works. And I wish that I had learned it. I mean, I was great that I got it in undergrad, but I had wished that we learned this in high school.
Yeah.
Because what about the people who didn't enter the same program that I did? Right? Would they be able to buy several houses? Would they be able to do all this stuff? And that's the issue that I see with promposals. We are highlighting a dream that your pockets cannot finance. So for one day you live like you're rich, and with all the other days you're broke.
All right, make it make sense.
It does. It doesn't. So you would go and spend this on one day. And again, I love our kids. I do believe that kids deserve everything, but I also believe that they need to learn how to live within their means, not what they see on social media.
And I think it has a lot to do with how you raise your children too. It has a lot to do with their socializations, because I don't think that our kids would actually ask for $4,000 or $5,000 suit. There's no way. So it goes back to how they're brought up. they're taught what is important.
And for some parents, this is. And I'm going to tell you, I know this is Super Bowl. I know this is a Super Bowl for most parents. Trust me, because like, dang, I made it. But you know how much it took for me to get this kid to this finish line? I get it. Trust me, I do. The issue that I have is that, but once we get to that ideal finish line for you, because you think this is it, I'm saying there's other finish lines out here.
Bigger finish line.
Ma'am, right? So it's almost like that short-term memory that people are only focused on like today. And that tomorrow, unfortunately, does come. And that tomorrow to me should be based off of how are we putting seeds and growing these nuggets for our kids in order for them to not be dependent on us. Because let me tell you what I don't want to have happen. To support a grown ass adult. I would support you. I would encourage you. Oh my gosh, through words. But my job as a parent is to make and hopefully instill in you so that when you are probably a couple years outside of undergrad, you know, that you're not needing us financially.
You have some form of independence, you know?
Correct.
Yeah.
And now I understand too, at the times is a little different because, you know, the money in a dollar looks very different than when it did when we were younger. However, you know, if you're making fiscally responsible choices, I don't have a problem supporting. But if you out here blowing and living the life that I know I even couldn't afford and I've been working forever, I can't support it. Can't. I can't. Mm-mm.
So, which leads me to ask you then, is prom becoming more about showing off social status rather than celebrating the milestone, you know, in your child's life?
This is hard because I think a lot of people look at surface and make an interpretation of what surface looks like. Right? Some people can say, oh my gosh, you have this money for this, you must be this. I think a lot of people are chasing that, you know, and I must say this, I do believe in buying qualities, but I also know that I try not to buy things twice if I can help it. Right? So whatever I purchase, you're going to see that 5, 10, maybe even 15 years from the day I purchased. Again, I just feel like if I buy quality, then it should last. And I know you disagree. She disagree. I know you disagree. I know you do. Yeah, I know you do.
Why? Why you say that? I don't disagree at all.
Okay.
It's just that we shop differently.
Yeah, we do.
And you know, femme fashion is
What is femme fashion?
femme fashion, like I could get a dress on Fashion Over for like $50. You, on the other hand, it's very rare that you can actually find your kind of clothing for that cost, you know?
That's true. That's true. So you think you can spend more because what?
That ain't no, well, the point I was trying to make is my money goes further than yours.
I can see that. I mean, the quality of stuff that I buy isn't cheap, but it lasts longer.
Are you saying my Fashion Over dress don't last?
I didn't say that. And I actually love the stuff. I love the stuff that you wear. I do. I love the stuff you wear, but it's true though. It's true. I mean, you've gotten rid of some things.
All funds aside, yeah.
Because they had mysterious holes just pop up. Right? So, and it's, let me say this. I do believe in balance. So I don't want to come across like, oh my gosh, Jay's a penny picture. It just has to make sense. So I also know that there are differences. We have boys versus someone having girls, right? Yeah. So then that goes to the other side of prom, which is like hair. Right?
Nails, makeup.
Someone told me how much hair costs, like to get your hair done.
It's really expensive.
It's stupid. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, you get more wears out of one. You get more than one wear out of your hair, ideally. So my lens is kind of the lifestyle that I live. You know, which in a way I'm kind of blessed to have boys because I think that I would have stroked out somewhere if I had a girl. I know I would have. I know I would have because with some hair, nails, the dress. So
the makeup, don't forget the
makeup.
makeup.
Oh, I'm sorry. Everybody wear makeup in high school? People wear makeup in high school?
I mean, for that day.
Oh, and that's expensive?
Makeup can, I mean, the last time that I had a professional, it was like what, 100 and something dollars, 150. And that's probably on the lower end, depending on what you want, because there are different themes. Yeah, or different looks that you can achieve. So depending on what you want, yeah, it could cost. Yeah,
So what kind of look are we looking to do
a
besides
different finish if you want contour, if you want to have a fierce look or
fierce?
the kind of makeup that they apply on you. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. So I don't understand any of this. You got to pay for fierce. Why can't you just be fierce? Like I'm not understand. I'm not understanding. Like who's paying for this? Like you're paying for someone to make you
Or if
look
you want hairbrush, I'm just
a
telling
hairbrush.
the hairbrush finish,
I don't
things
know.
like that.
Right. So this is wild. I mean, and this all would cut into that $500, which is why when I said $500, the person who I said it to almost fell out and definitely called me out of my name. And I told her that's unfair. Not only is it unfair, I feel like it's unwarranted.
So what was that person's ideal cost?
She was saying she was dropping several $1,000s on the prom. And I told her, and again, let me be very clear. I do believe that everybody should work hard and spend how they want. The only thing I said was, it's one day and it's not even a wedding, right? Now, again, this person also too has college coming up, right? And she was just talking to me about how much the books cost and the degree, the tuition. They thought this was going to be covered, but then certain things from the government dropped off. I'm like, why wouldn't you put that money towards that? I'm pretty sure that there are some people out here. I'm hoping my people out here, there are some, but I was already roasted. I was, and I definitely politely excused myself from this conversation after they laughed me out when I said $500. And apparently, you're quiet too. So, I mean, I know that we would have to obviously find a middle, but I mean, five to me sounds like a lot.
I guess. And don't forget your 500 won't mean a thing when your boys are ready for prom because it's quite a few years before they're actually ready for prom.
You mean like inflation, the way money? Maybe, maybe. Let me ask you this. I have one more thing about prom.
Okay.
This same person, and they shall remain nameless, talked to me about renting a hall for the kids. And I'm like,
Renting a what? I'm
right.
sorry.
So they had a car rental service,
Car. Okay.
right? And now they're going to have a hall for them to go to and pay a professional to take pictures at the hall and then for them to leave the hall and then go to prom. When I tell you I almost fell out.
It's a whole production. Oh, wow. I can see your blood pressure rising.
Listen, that conversation, I can tell you I was excused out of there because I'm trying to understand and I want it to make sense to me. And the only thing I keep grappling with is this money can be used elsewhere. And I know there's several arguments. The first argument I heard was, but this is the experience. This is like a once in a lifetime. You'll never get another prom. And I was like, microphone check. You got adults who didn't go to prom, attending proms nowadays, right? And two, my whole deal is like, well, just because this is their one day, who's going to blow their whole bank on one day? That makes it even worse for me.
Wow.
It seems like you have a different perspective.
No, I can see how the prom has evolved into like this glamorous, high cost event. So I guess we're a little behind. We're not going with the flow or with the times, I guess.
I don't know if there's a flow for me to ever be on if it has anything to do with thousands of dollars. I don't think I'll ever join that flow. But the other thing is, do people make stuff now? Like, do you make it from like scratch?
Yeah, I was actually seeing where people actually have their dresses made custom.
Not what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Custom sounds expensive, right? No, I'm talking about like for a promposal, do I make you a card?
Oh,
Yeah,
that.
I'm
Oh
talking
my
about like,
God.
can I?
Oh,
That's mean. But you see, but think about this: like, can something come from your heart? Like that doesn't really have, a monetary value. Maybe it has a heart value.
I'm sorry.
No, but I'm thinking about so, if someone gave you a promposal that they, thought with their heart, it wouldn't be good enough.
For me, yes.
You lie. You lie because I saw your face already, right? So you would want to have the glitz and glam that someone making a big ordeal about it.
Why can't I have both?
So you want a handmade card in for someone to drop some. Wow. 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 You know, times are so hard these days. I mean, just wow.
I'm torn in between, I guess.
You didn't seem torn
Well,
because you said, "Can we have both?" I'm like, if both is
in this overall prom, you know, the cost of it all. I can see why some people would go the extra mile, and I can also see on the other side why you would be, you know, a little mindful of how much money you spend on the event. So I guess I can write the fence. I'm Switzerland.
you play too much. Let me. I'm not Switzerland. I can tell you where I stand. I stand with let's make it make sense. Okay. So we want to hear from you all. We want to make sure you get your perspectives out here. So please like, subscribe, and provide your feedback. Whether I am an antiquated dinosaur or a common sense guru, let us know. Leave comments in the chat. I'm pretty sure there will be many people that will have things to say about this, considering we are approaching and in prom season. So again, like and subscribe to our channel, and please leave your feedback for this topic.